let's see here. You might want to take a little stretch break at this point. We did do it quite a bit. If you feel confident, go ahead and finish the rest of this page without me. The next one is a bit of a doozy. It says use the diagram for 4 and 5. All right, that's 4, that's 5. Here's the diagram. Again, my first step is probably to be, there's no triangles. I'm going to freak out. No, I'm not. Look at that. There's one big triangle right there, I know. And I notice that they're trying to cast some shadows. So that must mean that there's a sun right there. And then I notice that like that top of the building is right there. And then I notice this shrub right there at the very top. All right. So let's look at the problem. It says, how tall is the house? So it's asking for this right here. That middle line. If you aren't quite seeing it, there are 3 triangles right here to compare. So we need to compare the triangle with the house. So that's, let me see. This one right here, the triangle with the house. Compare it with the little bush triangle at the tip. In order to do that, I like to draw them separately. Let's draw the little bush triangle. We know the height on that's 4.5 feet. And it's 9 feet long on the shadow. And then we know that the house, it's not going to be that great. The house is 72 feet shadow. And we need to find the height, so I'm just going to put height right there. And we're going to make it a triangle so we can compare, right? Awesome. So let's see here. It's been a while since we did scale factor. Let's do scale factor. We got to find it. We need to go from 4.5 to height. So that means we need the scale factor going from 9 to 72. I'm pretty sure that's an even number, and I know it, but this might be hard for some of you who don't know your nines. So what I'm going to do is wherever I start goes on the bottom, wherever I end goes on the top. In a calculator, that is 72 divided by 9. And so you should get times 8 is the scale factor, right? That triangle is 8 times bigger. So 4.5 times 8 is 36. The height of that is 36. Is that right? Is that 4.5? Yeah, it is. Okay. So that is a 36-foot tall house. Awesome. So the next one says the tree is 56 feet tall. So then I want you to label that for me right now. All right, so that's 56 feet tall. How long is its shadow? Can you draw for me what they're asking? Like show me like a line what they're asking for. It says, how long is its shadow? I say this because a lot of people are saying, oh, it's this part. It's not just that part. And then some people are telling me it's just like the tip, or it's just a 72. No, the shadow cast by that tree goes all the way down to the ground, right? So I'm looking for that. So, I don't know how long this shadow is, but I do know how tall it is. I've got this big old triangle right here, and I can compare it to any of my other triangles on this page. I can compare it to this one, or I can compare it to that one. I'm just going to compare it to the bush because it's easier to draw that one down here. 4.5 and 9, right? So then if I want to compare 4.5 and 56, I know that I want to go from 9 to L, so I want to go from 4.5 to 56. All right, I need to find out that scale factor. It's not going to be nice, but it's doable. Wherever I end up, 56 is being divided by 4.5, right? Because this is where I end. This is where I started with. So that's 56 divided by 4.5. Scale factor is 12.444. 12.4444, repeating forever and always. Okay. So, let's see. That means that triangle is 12.444 times bigger. And that means that 9 has to be 12.444 times bigger. In a calculator, that would be 112. 112 what? Squirrels, dogs? No. That is feet. Cool. Again, you could have used ratios. You could have used whatever you'd like. If you did all scale factor, great. If you did all ratios, amazing. All right, this next one's exactly like our first one. You can go ahead and do it yourself if you'd like, or not. It says, Drew wants to know the distance across the river. He drew the diagram and labeled it with the measurements he made. What is the distance across the river? So they don't mean diagonal across, they mean straight across, right? So we've got these two triangles. I'm not going to draw them apart because they're not on top of each other. It's easy to just highlight. I need to compare the long leg to the long leg and the short leg to the short leg. Okay, so let's see here. I need to go from 24 to the missing side. That means I need to go from 18 to the missing side. All right, so where I started goes on the bottom, and where I end goes on the top. That'll give me my scale factor. 72 divided by 18. That gives me 4. It's such a nice number. That means that triangle right here is 4 times as big. So that 24 must be 4 times as big. Me personally, I got, why don't you do it yourself? Pause. I got 96. And we're working in meters. Awesome. Congratulate yourself a little bit. We're on this last problem. I'm going to read through it with you, and then I want you to draw it yourself before I draw it. All right? Or draw it as we go. A warehouse is 120 feet tall. That's how tall it is. It's a warehouse. And it's casting a shadow that is 288 feet long. At the same time, Julie cast the shadow. That's Julie. Cast a shadow. The shadow that's 12 feet long. Okay. How tall is Julie? That's the question. We want to know how tall she is. All right, let's start one at a time. We've got a warehouse. It's not going to be great. That's as good as you're getting. Looks like an apartment building. Okay, and the sun is out, right? Because it says we've got shadows. This warehouse has shadows. And then it said that warehouse was 120 feet tall. And then it said it was 288 feet long. And then I connected the top of the building to the bottom of the ground to make a triangle. All right, let's do Julie. She's gonna just be a stick figure. You can draw some hair if you like. Maybe a top hat. There you go. I don't know. And she's also casting a shadow. I don't know why I made her so big. But she's casting a shadow. And that shadow is 12 feet long. And then we're just going to connect her forehead to the ground so she's got a little triangle going on. Right? I hope you can see that triangle. Our question here is, how tall is Julie? What's her height? All right. So, You can either choose scale factor or choose ratio. The choice is yours. If you choose, and maybe this is your final test, pause the video and do it without me. All right. Well, let's see here. We have 120 over 288. I haven't really shown you scale factor when we go smaller. There's two ways to do this in the way I showed you the other day. We go from small to big, so 12 to 288. We find the scale factor. So you do 288 divided by 12. 288 divided by 12. And you get that the scale factor is 12. But then when you have to go in the opposite direction, right? Because before we went towards the building, now we're going away from it. Instead of multiplying, you gotta divide. So 120 divided by 24, which makes sense, right? Because we're getting smaller, a smaller triangle, because it's Julie, not a building. 120 divided by 24, we're going to get 5. Julia is only 5. What is she? Is she like chihuahuas? No, she's feet. 5 feet tall. She's probably a middle schooler, just like you. All right, thank you for bearing with me. I know this is kind of a long video. You could have stopped at any time and, done it yourself. So here you go. Honestly, not that terrible if I do say so myself. I hope you had a great time, and I will see you the next time.